Still continuing with the game, we're in the top of the seventh. Bill Russell's on first base. Steve Yeager is at the plate. And Harry Parker is on the mound. The 74 Dodgers lead this game by a score of 4-3. If they take the game, they win the best-of-3 series against the 73 Mets, 2-0. But Steve Yeager is facing Harry Parker, and we have a possible wild pitch on this play. It's not a wild pitch. The pitch to Yeager is a shot to third. That's going to get past Garrett. It's going to get past Garrett into left field. Garrett's an E30. We rolled a 14, so it's not an error, but it is a two-base advance for Russell. The Dodgers have men at the corners with 2 men out. They lead 4-3, and Messersmith is due up. Walter Alston has a choice to make here about how he wants to play this. And Alston is going to try for something akin to a knockout punch and send Willie Crawford to the plate to try and drive in a run here to pad the lead. Willie Crawford was the right fielder against right-handed pitching in 1974 for the Dodgers. And Ferguson got the start today for the Dodgers because Matlack is a lefty for the Mets. So Crawford stands in with 2 outs and men at the corners. Crawford hit .295 with 11 home runs and 23 doubles on the 1974 season. So, with 2 outs and men at the corners, Crawford stands in against Parker. No action in the Mets bullpen as yet. The pitch to Willie, and Harry Parker just blew him away. Wow. That gets the Mets out of a big jam. The Dodgers score none. They hit for their starting pitcher, so Messersmith's out of the game. And we go to the bottom of the seventh with the Mets down 4-3 to the 74 Dodgers. The bottom of the Mets order is coming up, but first we need a reliever for the Dodgers, and it's going to be Charlie Huff. Charlie Huff, the knuckleballer, at that time the young knuckleballer, although I'm not sure Charlie Huff was ever really young, but we'll see. Bud Harrelson is going to stand in. We'll have a pinch hitter probably for Parker, and then the top of the order with Wayne Garrett. The pitch to Bud. Bud Harrelson's 1 for 2 on the day. Mets got to get it going, and Bud draws a walk. That's going to get Mike Marshall up and throwing, but not throwing up in the Dodger bullpen. Mike Marshall did not pitch in Game 1, but he did pitch in 104 games for the 74 Dodgers and over 200 innings. Harry Parker how are they going to do this? Parker is due. Oh boy. How do they want to do this? They're not going to let Harry Parker hit. They're going to have Ed Kranepool come off the bench and bat for Harry Parker. Tug McGraw is warming up in the bullpen for the Mets. He will likely take over in the 8th inning, but for now, Ed Kranepool will battle Charlie Huff. Kranepool could bunt. He's a good bunter, but they could have had Parker do that as well. So we'll see what they decide to do. Huff pitching to Kranepool. Charlie to the belt. with Bud Harrelson on first base. The pitch is ball 4. That's 2 walks for Huff. And Cranepool jogs down to first base. Now Wayne Garrett's up with nobody out. That's Harrelson on second, Cranepool on first. Huff is on the mound. How do they want to play this? That's going to give Huff one more batter. Garrett is going to lay it down. He squares to bunt and gets it down. That is say to Garvey on the sac bunt. Runners move up to second and third with 1 out for Felix Mian. Mian had a successful suicide squeeze in the 3rd inning. Will the Mets do it again? There's runners on second and third. Harrelson is quick. Cranepool is not. Huff is at the plate. And here comes Walter Alston. And Mike Marshall is on in the 7th to try and keep things where they are. He has a 1-run lead. There's 1 out. The Dodger infield is in at the corners, and Mian is at the plate. Pitch to Felix. And Felix Mian drives one right back at Marshall. It ticks off his glove and gets into center field. That's going to score Harrelson from third, and it's going to score Cranepool from second. The Mets lead 5-4. This one is an interesting ball game, back and forth between these two teams. With Felix on first, Rusty Staub stands in, and the Mets now have a lead to protect. It's 5-4 Mets over the 73 Dodgers. Pitch to Rusty. It's deep. Deep to center field. Jimmy Wynn to the wall and gone at Shea. And the fans are going nuts. And Rusty Staub has padded the Mets lead. It's now New York Mets 7, 74 Dodgers 4. Tug McGraw warming up in earnest in the bullpen. Cleon Jones stands in against Marshall. He grounds 1 to third. That's Ron Say to his left. And he throws to first for 2 outs. And John Milner hits a grounder to second. That's Lopes. Oh, it's a bad hop. And that will get by Lopes into right field. That will get by Lopes into right field. It's a base hit for Milner. Milner's now 2 for 4. Grody stands in. Mike Marshall, the ace reliever, maybe of the 70s, having his trouble. He's faced 4 men. 3 have reached base safely. Grody strikes out on Marshall's screwball, and that closes out the inning. But the 73 New York Mets have scored 4 in the bottom of the 7th to take a 7-4 lead over the 74 Dodgers. Have they forced a Game 3 tomorrow? We'll see. Now coming in the game to pitch is Tug McGraw. We've got some defensive changes for the Mets. Ed Cranepool is going to come in to play first base. Milner is out. McGraw will take Milner's spot in the order. And Tug is going to try for the 2-inning save here today. And Cranepool is a slightly better glove man than Milner at first base. So it's 7-4, top of the 8th. 73 Mets are leading the 74 Dodgers. Tug McGraw lead is on. Tug McGraw is on to face the top of the Dodger order with Dave Lopes leading off the inning. And that's a strikeout. The Scroogey from McGraw gets Lopes. Bill Buckner with 1 out in the 8th. Catch X. That's Grody. Jerry Grody. Is an E2. And he makes the play on the pop out for out number 2. And Jimmy Wynn with 2 outs. Looking to get something going. He's 0 for 2, but he's walked twice today. And Wynn lined at Garrett, and he makes the grab. That's 3 outs. So, Tug McGraw gets a 1-2-3 8th. Met fans are smelling a return trip to Chavez Ravine tomorrow. Don Hahn against Marshall. 0 for 3 today. For Hahn, that's Steve Yeager. Yeager will make the play on the pop-out. That's 1 down for the Mets. Bud Harrelson standing in against Marshall. And Bud draws a walk. 1 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 runs scored is a pretty darn good day for the Mets shortstop. Ed Kranepool stands in against Marshall. And Ed lines one at Lopes, who makes the play. Step and a dive for Davey, and that's 2 outs. Harrelson's still on first. Marshall trying to hold the Mets where they are with a 3-run lead. And Garrett strikes out on a big swing. That ends the 8th, and we go to the top of the 9th with the 73 Mets leading the 74 Dodgers by a score of 7-4. No other defensive changes for New York. It's who they got it out there is who they're using. Tug McGraw is on the mound, and Steve Garvey is leading off. It'll be Garvey, Ferguson, and Say for the 74 Dodgers as they try and come back here. And that's a shot from Garvey, but it's gloved by Kranepool, who's going to take it unassisted for the out. That's 1 down in the 9th. Joe Ferguson. 2 for 3 today. Joe has done a job. And there's 1 to left. Way back for Fergie. And he's just gone deep. We got a 7-5 ball game now. And the Mets are clinging, trying to get out of this like a fighter, waiting for the bell to ring. Ron Say, 0 for 3 with a sac fly. Tug McGraw had trouble in 73 at times. Ooh, another fastball from McGraw gets by Say. That's 2 outs. 2 outs for the Dodgers in the top of the 9th. It's 7-5 Mets. McGraw is going to wind up against Bill Russell. And Russell lines one through the box. It's a base hit. Russell is aboard. Steve Yeager is due. He's 3 for 4 with a home run today. Let's see if the Dodgers are going to let him bat. They've got some options, but I think because of his good performance, they're going to let Yeager give it a shot. Manny Mota is on deck to hit for Marshall if Yeager should reach. Yeager's 3 for 4 with a solo homer back in the 4th inning. Tug McGraw to the belt. The pitch to Yeager is strike 3, and we're going back to Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers score 1 in the 9th. But that's all. The 4-run 7th inning for the Mets proves to be the Dodgers' undoing, and they have forced a Game 3. Let's get this one under control before we talk about what's coming up tomorrow. For the Mets, they scored 7 runs on 4